So Godzilla Minus One. Japan is already devastated by the war when a new crisis emerges in the form of a giant monster. Short and sweet synopsis, perfect for
Easy.
this movie.
Easy.
Yeah, because it is just like
It's
it's
exactly what it
Godzilla.
is.
Yeah, it is just like it's a Godzilla
Yeah.
movie, but it's fucking awesome. I still don't know where I'm gonna rate it. I'll throw. I'll
This
throw.
was like
I'll
at like out of the theater, this was like the fastest 4.5 out of 5 I could have
Yeah, I
given.
think I'll throw an 87 out of 100 at it. So 4.5 out of 5.
It was just,
Fuck, but I
you
think I
know
like it
what?
more than like
I
Creed and
spent like
stuff.
the last like whatever 2 weeks like watching so many Godzilla movies, like all the entire MonsterVerse, and then a couple of like the old Japanese ones,
Yeah,
and like I'm just not blown away by anything. And like a lot of people have a lot of these older Godzilla movies at like a 4.5 or a 4, and I don't think I've put one up higher than a 3.5 yet, even in the MonsterVerse. So this was just comparatively to what I've been watching, this was hydrogen bomb to whatever that meme is,
coughing
crying.
baby,
What is it?
coughing baby.
Coughing baby. That is what the comparison is. Like this is by and far away the best Godzilla movie I've seen. It was
I have
just
Godzilla vs Kong rated pretty highly. I kind of love that
I
movie.
saw yeah, you got that at the 4.5. You got to rewatch that
Yeah,
movie.
I might have to.
I
I was
rewatched it
thinking
and
that
lowered my
today.
rating.
I was thinking that I was thinking that last night after I saw it. I'm like, well, now, so my thing with Godzilla vs Kong, and I think that the U.S. Godzilla does this, like it has a trajectory upwards because it gets less and less people and just more kaiju's fighting. But
Yeah.
I think this movie was a great way of like kaiju's being not fighting because there's no other kaiju other
Yeah.
than Godzilla. Spoiler, I guess, but also mixed in with like human characters that you actually care about. I don't give a fuck about any character in
Yeah.
Godzilla vs Kong, but it's got so much kaiju's fighting. I love it. Like I'm so in the whole time.
That's
I'm
like
like,
the
this is awesome.
shittiest parts of the MonsterVerse. It's like there's so much time spent not focused on Godzilla, and like even the
But not
original.
in vs Kong, man. It's just battles.
No,
It's awesome.
for like the last like 45, not even for like the last like half hour up until like where Mecha Godzilla comes in. We're focused so much. Like when they're in the underworld area or whatever, the
Mm.
Hollow Earth, and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
half of them like turn on half of them. I'm like, I just don't give a shit about
Mhm.
any of this. Like, get me to where Kong and Godzilla meet face to face.
Yeah.
But that's what Minus One does so well. It's like this post World War II, just look at like grief, and now this dude has to like, and grief and guilt and PTSD because of his prior experience with Godzilla. Now Godzilla's like 3 times larger, which when Godzilla pops up for the first time in this movie, I'm looking at him, I'm like, he's tiny. Like he's small as
Yeah.
shit right here. Like he's a
Yeah,
small dude. So I was like, is he gonna be like this way the entire movie? He was not, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this movie was just, there were so many moments of just jaw on the floor. The first time he drops his atomic breath, I lost
That
my
was the coolest
dude.
fucking atomic breath
Oh
ever.
my god.
Oh my, it was insane, man. And, oh, I wish we got it like 3, 4 more times. That was fucking
I wish I
unreal.
wish I like got my reaction to that
Yeah.
on video, because the theater I went to an early screening. It was like 4
Okay, that's
o'clock.
awesome.
So no, not an early screening, just like
Oh,
early
like just
time
an
in the
early
day.
showing. Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Just
yeah,
like it was like a 4 o'clock screening. I left work a little early. It wasn't that busy. I was like, let me just go watch this movie, get out of the way.
that's awesome,
So it
man.
was me and like one other dude, and like the entire time I'm like, damn, I should have brought my tripod and like recorded my reaction to this, because I genuinely like I unreclined my seat after that because I wanted to
Mhm.
like sit up and like look at the screen. That shit out of nowhere popped up, which was just
Yeah.
delightful. And then I saw this tweet that I think kind of describes what Minus One is like fairly well. They were
Yeah.
basically, forgot what they said about Act One, but they basically said Act One was some movie, Act 2 of Jaws and then Act 3 of
Yeah,
Dunkirk.
So it's a Jurassic Park,
Yeah,
Jaws,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Dunkirk. Yeah,
Which
it is,
yeah,
man.
yeah, which I thought was just like the most brilliant way to describe this movie, because I think that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
But yeah, this is in my top 5 of the year. I was just so stunned at so many moments. I think they put Tyler, if you can still hear us, you want to toss that spoiler warning on? Thank you.
What a guy.
Yeah, I guess we'll just go into spoilers now, because
That's
there's
fine
one
with
thing.
me, man.
They made it too obvious that there was an ejector seat in that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
obvious.
that's
Like,
kind of like what held this back from a 5-star for me, was that part, because they wanted to make that like the really like big emotional sacrifice, but I was like, they made it so obvious that like they cut out the audio when he was talking about the plane. They were like, and then they go back.
That was so clear.
It was a little too obvious for me, but still, the whole final sequence was just nonstop anxiety and panic, and I was like, wow, this is the Godzilla movie that we've been waiting for. It's like this perfect blend of like this kaiju destruction with these jaw-dropping moments, and they also give us this character in, and I'm definitely going to pronounce his name wrong, Koichi, I believe his name was, and like the guilt and the grief that he has from his experience in World War II, and how he's like,
yeah, what the fuck? They got like a Godzilla with like a deeper meaning in it that like, and that's probably why I shouldn't rate Godzilla vs. Kong a 4.5.
Yeah, that 4.5 is
like,
crazy.
This movie has like deeper meanings to it, and it's actually like has a narrative on top of big ass Godzilla destroying a bunch of shit. But yeah, you can continue. A lot of guilt and shame.
No, that's pretty much my whole rant. This is just like, it was the best of both worlds, because it's like, it's what the new MonsterVerse movies lack, that human narrative. The old Japanese movies, the ones that I have seen, have lacked that Godzilla terror outside of Shin Godzilla. I think Shin Godzilla was a very good blend of it, just not to the level of Minus One. But everything prior to that, I think, just lacks Godzilla. Everything in the MonsterVerse lacks that human narrative, and at times even lacks Godzilla. I think the Gareth Edwards movie is like criminal how little Godzilla there is in that movie.
Yeah, they really went for the Jaws effect in that one.
Yeah, which
like,
I just did not
too much
like.
People.
Yeah, too much people, and then
that you don't care about.
Exactly, especially. And then they tried to switch it up in King of the Monsters, where they tried to just give us kaiju fighting left and right, and then they added Millie Bobby Brown as like a little piece. Didn't like that much. But yeah, this was just
Godzilla vs. Monsters. I love those movies. I'm an idiot.
No, I like those movies a lot too. I think they're visually fantastic, and when we have Godzilla and like Ghidorah fighting, it's cracked. It's incredible. But there's just nothing for me to care about in those movies. And Minus One just gave me that. I cared about characters for the first time in a Godzilla movie.
I like that. No, I'm with you, man. I fuck it. This is gonna be, we're gonna call it 90 out of 100 right now, just because I'm gonna put it.
That's a 4.5, right?
Yeah. I think that's 5th on my ratings for this year.
Yeah, that's what it says for me.
And it's. I think it's above Creed. I think it's above John Wick.
I got John Wick.
Okay.
Yeah, I got John Wick at 3, and then Past Lives at 4, and then Godzilla at 5.
Yeah, I have Past Lives at 4, and then Oppenheimer, Guardians, and Across the Spider-Verse. So yeah, I think this one can be my number 5, which I really like this movie. I think it was awesome. I think that it's $15 million budget, which is insane because it looks so good at parts.
It's so crazy.
There are parts where it looks like rubbery and a little off, but like it's not a huge.
It was the eyes. It was the eyes of Godzilla. This was my problem with Shin Godzilla 2. I know you should watch that, by the way. It's a great movie.
I do like Godzilla, so I got to watch more.
Yeah, that's like another movie where it's like a good blend of like the human narrative and then Godzilla just being destructive. But like, I think Godzilla looks so goddamn goofy in that movie. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And the more I watched that movie, like as the runtime went on, I was like, it's the eyes. Like the pupils are not moving. He's not blinking or anything. They're just there. No, and that was the same thing in Minus One. I was like, it's the eyes. Like the eyes, just make him blink once, and I think that would add so much terror to his character.
Yeah, I'm with you. Definitely the eyes You're exactly right. We're the problem. Um, what else was I gonna say? Oh, I think also the way he walks is a little goofy, but that's like old timey Godzilla. So like I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what they were going for, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of
my
people who I've never seen the 19, I believe it was
I haven't.
54, the first one ever, but a lot of people that have are like putting in their letterbox reviews. Like I like that. I like the ode to like older Godzilla, like with the way
It,
he like he moves, the way his arms are.
yep.
I also saw a lot of letterbox reviews that like said why they made Godzilla kind of thick in this movie.
They did kind of, man. He's not wrong. It's not wrong. One of my favorite letterbox reviews of the week, not for Godzilla, but for Napoleon. So Tyler, if you could hear, is like, I can't wait to see Sofia Coppola's version of Vanessa, or not Vanessa, whatever Vanessa Kirby's character plays. I haven't seen the movie, but I thought that was a funny letterbox review.
Yeah.
Back to Godzilla. Yeah, I think like it just shows how impressive it is that they can make a character driven Godzilla movie work and still have the big ass kaiju. Like Godzilla is all Godzilla is just is a like representation of the atomic bomb. That's all it is. And basically and you don't get that at all in the US versions. Shocker there. um, shocking
Whoa.
shocking that the US doesn't want to make this narrative that Godzilla is the atomic bomb. But like you said, we see Godzilla originally. He's kind of small on an island of Oda, is it? I believe.
Yeah.
And then later in the movie, you see the U.S. testing atomic weapons and Godzilla getting stronger and stronger, a little bit bigger. And then he becomes a minesweeper, the main character, and they're making a great family. He marries, or he doesn't marry a woman. He gets with a woman who has a kid, but it's not her
I thought
kid.
that
Yeah,
was
super
the
weird.
funniest relationship I've ever seen in
not
film.
weird. It was just like I was like a little throw. I was like,
Like
oh,
they were
okay,
they were living together for like 5 years, and people
Mhm.
were and like asking like, "Oh, your wife?" And he's like, "Oh, no, this is still just some random woman who just
Yeah.
decided to live with me."
Yeah, she showed up like after
Yeah.
the war. And this guy like who doesn't think he should have survived. He was a kamikaze pilot who lands on the island of Oda and then wasn't supposed to survive the battle with Godzilla and survives that. And then he's on that minesweeper ship when they first see Godzilla, survives that. And so he's just got such survivor's guilt that every natural disaster, he's the one making it out. At one point, his girlfriend who he's living with is dies, or you think she dies, and so he's has survivor's guilt for that. And then his idea is that he can be a kamikaze pilot now, and fly right into Godzilla's mouth and blow it up there, which it does work. But like you said, George, very clearly they put an ejector, and that was like another theme, is that like Japan refuses to put ejector seats in these planes. Then they did at the end, and it flies into it. You get a little tease at the end that Godzilla's still alive. I don't know if it's canon that Godzilla has regeneration powers,
I
but he
didn't
does it
think it
early in the
was.
movie.
Yeah, when he bites the mine and his face
Yeah.
grows, I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be like another Godzilla, like in the Meg, where like the second
There's like a bigger
Meg
one.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be another Godzilla.
Yeah, I didn't
or he was
know.
just gonna like heal like in time or something, but no, Godzilla just regenerates.
Yeah,
apparently.
because in every other Godzilla movie, he's just been indestructible. Like he's like,
Yeah.
like he got in Godzilla vs Kong, he got hurt, but like
But like can go.
he
heal.
got back up every single time. Like it was
Yeah.
more just like fatigue, I guess, in those movies. This movie,
Mhm.
half his face gets blown off, and he just immediately grew back.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very interesting.
Yeah,
Not an issue by any means.
no,
but
not an issue at all. Just like in the
yeah,
moment, I was like, oh, okay, he does that now.
I didn't know that was like I
Yeah.
was sitting there and I'm like, oh, didn't know that was a power he's got. But just a cool ass movie, man. Overall, like we already mentioned, the atomic breath that he has in this is without a doubt
Dude,
the best we'd ever
that
seen. As soon as you see like
scene.
the spikes charging up,
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
the build
man.
up of that.
That was
And then I
so cool.
love that it was like a literal bomb. It wasn't
Yeah,
just like
no,
it wasn't just like a laser breath like it usually is. Like this
you
was
have that feeling of like this is insane. It's like it shakes your entire theater and like
Yeah.
then causes a major, it destroys like an entire city basically, because just the power of it blows up. And then like you said, it's an entire bomb where the wind is coming through, you can feel it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
It's so
I
done.
need to like rewatch this in IMAX. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
because
I
I did
only
it.
saw it in like a regular screening because
Yeah,
that's all
so did
they had
I. I
around
didn't
me.
see it in IMAX or even like 4DX or anything. It was like
Yeah,
such a like a just a it was like literally just a normal theater.
yeah, kind of bummed
um,
about that, but
the shot when like in the third act when Godzilla is like charging himself up for the atomic breath
mm-hmm,
and like the camera is going around him.
mm-hmm,
I don't know if you remember that shot, but
yep,
I thought that was just the coolest thing. And there's for the life of me I can't remember what movie I remember that exact shot from, but like I
right,
have that like that style so vividly in my head of like just the camera circling
mm-hmm,
Godzilla. And I was like, I've seen this before somewhere. And like I remember just it's like the coolest shot in the world because like it like literally he's like powering himself up and then like the camera's going around him and getting closer to him as he's powering, so it just makes him look like this fucking menace. And then
yep,
that's obviously right before he gets the kamikaze plane in his mouth and then dies.
yeah. That was just an awesome movie, and then it's revealed that the woman lived,
Which
and
no way,
yeah, no shot, man.
zero chance.
She got blown to
She
shit, man.
got blown into buildings that were
Yeah,
falling.
yeah, she got blown to shit.
Like even if she did survive that, no way they
Also,
find her.
he would have died too. Like the
Yeah,
building, the
there's no
one
way.
building he's
Yeah,
behind is the one that's standing. It's fine, not a big deal, but just funny.
just funny plot armor.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just really great movie. 4.5 out of 5 for George, and 90 out of 100 for myself. Also a 4.5. But really, 2 thumbs up from Camo. 2 thumbs up. Just very fun.